Hi everyone. So I was planning for a very full-on PPT with all statistics, but then I was very exhausted, so I couldn't do it. But I'll try and give you in the next 10 minutes, hopefully, a small snapshot of what I'm thinking. Uh, I mean, when Mansi tried to reach out to me and ask me for the title, I was a bit puzzled. Okay, what should I speak on? I'm like, okay. And then I was like, okay, fine, let's speak on legal education. Because I've looked up to Swati all like ever since I got into LLB, and I've looked up to Satyashri. There is Ankan, there is Meg, there is Meera, who has not practiced but is using LLB, and many other people who have done LLB or even LLM, and but they haven't necessarily practiced, or they have had to drop out. And I kept wondering why, because when I went. I remember I studied in Delhi University, Campus Law Center, and within 2 months of this thing, obviously, I mean, you present yourself in a certain way, you're non-conforming, etc., etc. People just need some way to feel superior about themselves. So then bullying, harassment, everything happened. Same old boring story that you have all been hearing for years of what we are facing. I'm not going to repeat that. So, but I wrote a long letter to the dean, and thankfully the dean responded immediately. And one thing she said struck me, and that is what I want to present as the first part, is she said about 3 to 4 people applied before, as far as we know, and as far as I know, if I'm not wrong, as trans persons, to Campus Law Center, Delhi University, but didn't go ahead with their admission process, mainly because they felt like we would not get any space, right? And cut short to a year later, I was helping a fellow trans man friend, thanks to some contacts, to get admission into a distance learning course in Delhi University. And I did distance learning from IGNOU, Public Administration. I dropped out after doing my bachelor's in Pol Science and Amity. I was like, I am not going ahead I applied to all entrances, I cleared them, but I didn't go ahead. I was too scared to go into a full-time course into a university again, because I was like, I don't know, I don't care how the world calls me gay, trans, whatever, but it's just a lot of bullying that I can't handle. And I was too alone, no support systems, etc. Back then I was not the person that I am today. So I kept wondering why trans persons have to keep choosing distance learning courses, apart from, of course, economic needs are there, time, the university is located in a different place, etc. Trans persons at a very major level have had to choose distance learning courses. So if you go and speak to this one center which called Adult and Continuing Education in Delhi, there's this one professor, he would say majority of trans persons who come to me to seek help with admissions go into distance learning. And I'm wondering, like, Delhi University is such a big university, why don't you go into full-time courses? Like, there are trans persons in full-time courses, there have been trans persons in full-time courses, but it's just so damn low. So then I kept wondering, is it true even for legal education? So recently, NLU Delhi's, as part of some legal aid project, that's okay. It's as part of some, that's okay. So as part of some legal aid clinic, as part of some academic course, a bunch of students got together and they did a survey of all NLUs, National Law Universities. I mean, it's a long report, I can share it and you can all read it. But one thing was very striking. So they filed RTIs, and of course they tried and circulated Google Forms with all trans law students, etc. And one of the replies to the RTIs, which I have tweeted about also, is that we don't have transgender students, so we will not change policies. And no one came to us. And I am like, you are not just any university. You are a national law university, national law school, and you're not just any, any course. You're a legal institution, legal educational institution. You are supposed to follow the law in the first place, and not just any law school, national law schools. right? NLUs. There are about, I think, more than 20 NLUs right now in this country, 23 or maybe more. And I'm wondering, why is it taking so much damn time for them to even change their own policies to comply with the act? Forget, I mean, doing anything more than the act or arguing the fact that the act is wrong or the Nalsa judgment has issues. I'm like, forget it. Utna to karo na. Like, do that much. And that hasn't happened. So then I keep wondering, so there was this one Supreme Court judge, I don't know if he retired or not, but he said in a speech, among many other marginalized communities, we also, in his speech, I'm just paraphrasing it, he said, we also want transgender judges. And I kept wondering, if you want transgender judges in high courts and Supreme Court, like becoming high court judge is no joke, right? I'm sure it's no joke. So if a high court judge or a Supreme Court judge should be a transgender person, and I don't want to get into representation, I'm just like, I want to get into equality and access. You want us to become judges, we have to first become law students. We have to first get admissions. After getting admission, we have to survive through law school. And surviving through law school, then we have to get a job. And then we have to be paid well, and we have to progress so well in our career that we have to satisfy all the kinds of morality of how court systems are, which are very cis, heteropatriarchal and normative, etc. And then we can get qualified to become a high court judge. And that is like 30, 40 years of work. It's not like you have one trans law student, you admit them, you make a big newspaper article around it, and then you expect that they'll turn up to be a Supreme Court judge or a High Court judge in 30 years. It doesn't work like that. And so why am I saying all this, kahani, is because Nalsa's judgment already said you need to have one more category in your forms. But everyone said, okay, so when I opened up, there were a lot of questions. Oh, you have category on forms, what else do you need? These were law students, and not just LLM students, asking me this. I'm not expecting them to know the world, but I expected this basic courtesy that they know something better than this. But they said, you have a category on forms, what else do you need? I'm like, they're adults. I was like, okay, I have to carry saris. I'm wearing a sari right now. Thank you. I dressed very gorgeously for this. But yeah, that's what Vikram keeps telling. I remember the fight is for trans joy, right? I feel the fight for education is also for trans joy. It is not because we want to just turn up in your university. We want to lead happy lives, not keep recycling the same thing about being a victim and how we are excluded. So I was like, there's no gender neutral washroom. There is no, I'm sorry, it's the same thing you're hearing again, but there are no gender neutral washrooms in most of the law universities. So MHRD Minister, Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, in reply to a question on the floor of the House, and I've said this in multiple forums, literally said this, there are no transgender students on record in any central university in India. And I'm like, okay, there are 41 central universities. Do you realize what you have admitted on the floor of Parliament? And there are no transgender faculty, there are no transgender non-teaching staff in your central universities. So when one metro station in Kochi or one metro station in Delhi Metro says that we'll become pink, and we'll be like, we'll have trans persons in, I am not surprised, and I am not thrilled for it. It's not, see, if Swati has made it into the profession, if Satyashri has made it to the profession, if I am making it to the profession, and yes, I am a lawyer, then the point is, it's not, we have all done individual struggles. The institution has not taken efforts. If legal institutions, and that is why I made this topic, because this is CLPR and legal research, and I'm hoping that some of the legal institutions will take note. Am I exceeding the time? Okay. So I'm just hoping that that will happen, because if you want us to turn up to courtrooms, and I remember Jenna also saying this once in some panel about the fact that there were no access to washrooms even in a high court for cis women. So then you expect us to be lawyers and there is no general notary washroom in your courts. I have to turn up to Tisazari Court, Saket Court, Delhi High Court, Supreme Court, and I can't go to any washroom. I turn up in a shirt, I am worried that which washroom should I choose. I turn up in a sari and I have to change into a shirt because I have to go back home. How do I do it? This is going to be something that the judges have to deal with and legal profession has to deal with. And I'm tired of us being just petitioners and subjects of legal arguments. We have to be colleagues, and that is what I mean by equality also, and access. That we are equally partners in this. And to be equally partners in this, legal institutions have to open up. And it's not just NLUs. There are multiple, I'm sorry to say, NLUs have CLAT. How much is the fees for CLAT, if anyone can tell me? So how do you expect a trans person to bring up 4,000 rupees? Is there a concession for trans persons in CLAT admission entrance? So then when NLUs can't give even concession in their entrance examination, and forget clear, I mean it's just for one entrance we have to give 4,000 rupees. There is no surety that we'll clear it. There is no concession in marks, no scholarships. And all these moot courts that keep happening internationally, Philip Jessup moot court internationally, I don't think I'll ever get a sponsorship or anything from any law school to go to. I'm done with law school. But that's just it, right? And one personal thing I just want to say, I want to place this in the context of legal education. So I gave Supreme Court clerk examination. I know for a fact that I'm good. Maybe I'm not the excellent person, no. But I know for a fact that I'm privileged and that I don't want it personally for me. But I want to see a trans person as a Supreme Court clerk to a Supreme Court judge, and Supreme Court's law entrance, which for every law clerk, they don't have any concession for trans persons. I turned up in the entrance examination hall, and the entire school was like, the entire classroom was laughing. And I had to deal with this for 3 hours in that examination while writing that examination. At least for that, give me 5% concession, 5 mark concession. I mean, I'm not saying that we need special treatment. I am saying that you want trans persons in every legal space. You need to make substantive changes. NALSA filed a petition, and this is from a paper that Anbu S.V. Kodaram presented as part of category-wise rights for gender minorities. Anbu highlighted the fact that it's ironic, right? NALSA has filed a petition for us, and yet Legal Services Authorities Act does not have transgender persons as a category of persons entitled to legal aid. Everyone else has they are entitled specifically to legal aid. Then why aren't trans persons entitled to legal aid under the Legal Services Authorities Act? Why isn't NALSA thinking about it? So when I talk about legal education, it's not just law schools. It's about NLUs, it's about legal profession, it is about NALSA, it's about all the legal spaces. I will end there.